Good evening, everyone. I, Vaidehi Rastogi from 5th year BLLB Honors,
And I, Hariharan from 6th SEM LLB,
will be your MCs for the event. Before starting of the event, may I request Haripriya from 6th SEM LLB to please invoke the blessings of the Almighty.
Thank you, Haripriya, for the soulful rendition.
CMR University School of Legal Studies has established Alternate Dispute Resolution Center in the year 2020. In recent times, ADR has become very prominent to reduce the burden of the cases in the courts. The Center for ADR helps in positive learning and provides you with a better understanding in problem-solving methods. In today's world, through this ADR Center, we can not only build our careers, but also provide quick settlement of disputes to many people. The center aims to conduct and has also conducted in past 2 years various workshops, training courtroom practices and competition such as the first national mediation competition of 2022 in order to train the students to become legal professionals who can adopt ADR techniques effectively.
The CMR First National Mediation Competition 2022 witnessed 16 teams across India, out of which 8 teams qualified for the quarterfinals, and finally 4 teams moved to the semifinals, and finally we have 2 finalists today.
May I now invite our beloved Dean Sir, Professor Dr. T.R. Subramaniam, to please deliver the welcome address.
A very pleasant evening to all of you who are present here. Now, 2 days program is almost likely to end in an hour. And for this function, we have Honorable Justice P. Dinesh Kumar, the sitting judge of the High Court of Karnataka, as well as Mr. Anand Ram Hegde, again a sitting judge of the High Court of Karnataka, And we have uh, people who have put in their lifetime experience in the area of mediation, and Mrs. Sushila Sarathi, as well as Prasad Subban. Sir, I welcome all of you. On behalf of the Board of Management and Board of Governors, the Vice Chancellor and the President and the Chancellor, all of them, I deem it a great privilege to welcome Mr. P. Dinesh Kumar, Honorable Justice for the High Court of Karnataka. Just to put it cryptically, a few lines about the Honorable Judge. Mr. P. Dinesh Kumar happened to be a Bangalorean, studied in the National School, then thereafterwards he completed his graduation from the BMS Law College and started into practice in the year 1990. And in the year 1998, he became a counsel for the central government. And in the year 2003, he became a permanent counsel to the government of India. Thereafterwards, he never looked back. He was a counsel for the BSNL. He was the standing counsel for the CBI. He was the standing counsel for the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. And he was a counsel even for many, the National Power Corporation. And these are, remember, instances which speak immensely about the man who was and who has been and who is now into the legal profession and working and serving as a judge. Sir, the university is honored to have you. And on behalf of the university, I request Mr. Praneshwaran, the director of the law school, to present a bouquet of flowers to honor the judge. We have another sitting judge of the Karnataka High Court, as I just mentioned, and he is Anant Ramanath Hegde. He comes from the family of lawyers. His grandfather was a lawyer, father himself was a lawyer, and the son slowly and steadily, on completion of his LLB from the University Law College, Dharwad, started practicing. And it was in the year 1994. From 1994 to 2008, he never looked back. He was into practice consistently. It was in the year 2008, the government of Karnataka, as well as the Supreme Court of India, was able to establish a branch of the High Court in Dharwad. So thereafterwards, from Sirsi, Mr. Hegde shifted to Dharwad, and thereafterwards he was elevated as the additional judge for the High Court of Karnataka in November 2021, and he has been a serving judge. Sir, we are honored to have you. The university intends to present a bouquet of flowers through Mr. Praneshwaran, the director of the school. And we have another great lady, and she is Sushila Sarathi. And both Sushila Sarathi and Prasad Subban, those of you who are students here will know, just in the month of January, they completed a course for the senior students of the CMR Law School. And this was a week's program of 40 hours. And all of you, those who have taken the certificate, will know what is her scholarship. Essentially, she is an MA in sociology. And thereafterwards, she has done a PG diploma in the area of mediation. And she has another PG diploma in industrial relations. Besides all this, he's a perfect human being. And she runs a blog. And this blog naturally gives a tip and provides tips even to the mediators of the day. In addition, she is a writer, And recently she has written a book on Hindu Marriage Act. Please find out. We have ordered for the library. And in addition to the the law of marriage, which is written by her, she has written 2 books on mediation itself. And she is a trained mediator, and she has trained several students as well as lawyers and judges. I have been telling several times, perhaps this is the 3rd time I'm making a mention. Once, when I was serving in the National WBNJS, National University of Judicial Sciences, Madam had come to provide and to give a training of 40 hours to the students as well as lawyers of Calcutta. And this was held at NUDS under the auspices of the Center on Public Policy. So for the valedictory function like this, 3 of the judges had come. So when they came in the valedictory function, 2 of them in their speeches at the end, they pointed out, we were trained by none other than Sushila Sarathi. That is the credential of man. I don't intend to elaborate further. Madam, we are honored to have you on behalf of the university and on behalf of the law school. I request Professor Praneshwaran, President MK of class. In Mr. Prasad Subbanna. Prasad Subbanna has been into practice, non-stop practice for 30 years. And he is BA Honors in Literature and Psychology from the University of Bombay. And he has done his LLB from the University of Bombay. In addition, remember the parameters which are required for a mediator, he has completely fulfilled. He is a trained mediator, as I said. And he has been training almost all the students and advocates, perhaps I can say, throughout India. And his contribution is immense. And in addition to this, he is a serious practitioner. And in matters pertaining to it, may be service law, or it may be banking law, or it may be relating to family law. He is always a serious practitioner, and people consult him whenever is required. Sir, the university again is honored to have, and I request Praneshwaran to present a bouquet of flowers. Last but not the least, we have judges who are sitting on the other side, who judge the final rounds. And it is my duty to make a mention of all the 2 who are present. In addition, all the 60 participants representing different teams of this country, from this country, are also welcomed. Then we have our own teachers. It is because of the teachers and the volunteer students we are able to carry on wonderful programs here. And we have not left anything undone. And once again, welcome to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome address. May I now request our chief guest for the valedictory function, Honorable Mr. Justice P.S. Dinesh Kumar, Judge, High Court of Karnataka, to address the gathering. Please, sir.
Very good evening to everybody. Honorable Justice Anand Hegdeji, the Professor Subramania, my dear friends as the mediators when I was a mediator, Mr. Prasad Subbanna and Madam Sushila, Mr. Praneshwaran, the director, all invitees, judges, ladies and gentlemen, and dear students. Invitation for any function concerning mediation is a matter of great joy for me. We were perhaps the the first or the second batch who were trained by the High Court, who had come from by the judges who had come from the United States. And thereafter, as Indians are proficient in any work and any training that's given, we developed our own team, and Bangalore Mediation Center became the lead center, and we have had our own in-house mediators, mediation trainers, master trainers, and those two whom we are seeing on the days, Prasad Subana and Madam Sushila, they continue to be the master trainers, and I lost the way somewhere in between. Well, the mediation as a subject being introduced in the curriculum of law students was wanting for a long time in this country. Before we came to this hall, we were closeted in the room of the dean, and we were just discussing some points. My concept of life as an individual, as a lawyer, as a judge now, is that now that we are here, we have achieved so much. What is that the contribution that we can do to the society? We have been able to reach at this level right from the time of our birth till this date by selfless contribution of several hands, some known and some unknown. Ultimately, what's that each individual in this society looks for? It's very nice to say that we have had immense amount of the strength on the battery of lawyers that we carry to the court. We won a lot of litigation. We won this, we did that, we did this. A couple of people who may be able to say that. Please see the flip side of it. There are other party who have lost. Maybe that we do not know that ultimately the two persons who have entered into a transaction, if it's a business transaction, if it's a partition among the families, or a similar kind of litigation is what presently are seeing. The person who wins will always have a kind of satisfaction that, see, I have won and all that is nice. The flip side of it is there are several issues which go unattended, and at any given point of time, this heartburn, having lost the matter, he always continues to entertain this firm thought that he has been wronged in society. What's the best thing that can happen? Wherever that, if you go and talk to somebody, these are common words. Hello, good morning, how are you? Why do we ask, how are you? That somebody says, it's a hackneyed word that you ask, how are you? And everybody will say that fine, however good, bad, or ugly he's inside his self. Maybe that a person is having a debt of about few crores of rupees. He may be having an ailment. He may be having just here to attend. He's needed to attend an examination or appear in court and do so many things. Nonetheless, we ask him, pick up a telephone. Hello, Mr. So and so. How are you? He said, I'm fine. How are you? Good. So this is a position. But we are talking about the reality of life. So if a person has to, by conscience, you say that, you see, in Sanatana Dharma, we say that Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. It's not that what we speak must be the same, that what comes from the heart and what is the reality. So if somebody has to say that I'm fine, and if all have to say that I'm fine, then people who are litigating, if they get a platform where the litigation is solved, they shake hand and then go back home. this the flip side of the litigation, which I just mentioned a few moments ago, is a person who will constantly throughout his life entertain a perception, and he will live and die with that perception that I have been wrong with this court, maybe whichever the court that ultimately gives him the verdict. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the Parliament brought in the change in Section 89 to give an alternative dispute resolution. There are several, of course, the methodologies, some of which we are not concerned to discuss today for paucity of time. We're talking about mediation, and in my opinion, personal opinion, mediation is the best for this reason. That it's got, of course, I was extremely glad to know that some of you have had 40 hours of our a regular course training, which I'm sure that all of you, such as those who have taken training, are exposed to what precisely the mediation is, how it will change and transform the person himself. It's not that he will be able to give solution, but the point is we will unlearn. The concept is unlearning several things which we have had and entertained in our life for brain for several years. There is the complete transformation of the person that takes place. So now to be precise, in the mediation, parties come, parties have their private say, their joint discussions, then they see the private say, what they call it as private caucus. They have individual discussions, and the proposal, a very scientifically designed process. The proposals are carried, and with all this, the mediator remains an inert person, very balanced, equal to all, and even-handed. There are several concepts which we have all learned. It's not a lecture that I need to give. But the best part of the story, what's happened now is, I was told by the dean that now it's become a part of second-year curriculum in your college, and I'm extremely glad about it. And all of you knowing and learning this technique, I would call upon you and urge that you should undergo this 40 hours of training before you come out of the college. One or two words which, after becoming a graduate in law, what's to be done? All youngsters will have several options. Now the options are extraordinary. We'll have in corporate. Generally, we see that corporate litigation, quasi-litigation, criminal law, this law, that law, drafting. So many things are there. But ladies and gentlemen, and particularly to my young friends, students who are here, I would really strongly and humbly request all of you to do this. Let's see, when you enroll yourself after taking the degree from your alma mater, you will become a lawyer by the license given by the enrollment that you make it in the Bar Council. Then you will become an officer of the court. One thing we must now slowly, it's a very healthy comment that I am making. Maybe that some are too good and too excellent as the officers of the court. There may be some flip sides, few of them may or may not be fully adhering to that concept, whereby they will get themselves identified with the litigants themselves. That is where the problem comes. And I was, in the course of the discussion that we had in Dean's chamber, I was just telling him that we have had the experience of dealing with advocates of yesteryears about quarter century back, about 30 years back. That you see, the best of the lawyers, the senior advocates of the Supreme Court, you go them with a huge brief and tell them that you offer them anything for that matter. They would first make a reading, an opinion. Thereafter, if they think that there is a case, they would accept, or otherwise they would simply give it back to papers. They said, sorry, sir, nothing can be done in this case. This is what is a request that I am making to all young lawyers who will be coming out from here after completing your graduation. That be officers at court, true to yourself, true to the position of law, advise the parties to live within the four corners of law. This is the most important thing that has to be now revived. I'm very consciously using this word revived because over a period of time we are seeing that you see the parties litigation has become a kind of a compulsive phenomenon for several people. Taking money from the banks, filing written statements saying that see for several certain such reasons we will not pay back. Somebody's property is, your adjacent property is there and the person adjacent to you is not available. You would have taken about 10 feet extra. You go to court, let us see 5 years. These kind of concepts are now increasing and they are dangerous to society. It is a kind of antithema of what we think about it and what our elders have thought about it, an ideal society. An ideal society will be where peace and harmony will be there. And for all reasons that I stated up till now, mediation, in my opinion, is the best platform. I do not like to transgress into their speeches of more particularly of Prasad Subbanna and Sushila and a very respected my colleague judge Justice Anant Hegde, because they will have a lot of things to store in this armory to tell you. So I will now conclude the saying that I'm very happy to have been called here, conveying my gratitude to the university to have invited me here. I'm so happy to see the young children who have now participated into this. I wish you, every one of you, a great success. And thank you. And thank you for the patience for hearing.
Thank you, sir, for those insightful words and encouraging students to become officers of the court.
May I now request Honorable Mr. Justice Anant Ramnet Hegde, Judge High Court of Karnataka, to please come and speak a few words.
Good evening and namaskar. Esteemed Senior Brother Justice P.S. Dinesh Kumarji, Learned Senior Advocate Srimati Sushila Sarthi, Learned Advocate Prasad Subbanna, Professor Dr. Subramania, respected teachers, and prospective lawyers, and I would also like to add prospective mediators. When I was studying law, I did not have the privilege of studying mediation because the subject was not there then. And as a lawyer, I was not trained as a mediator, though I participated in certain mediation proceedings. I will be sharing my experience. Learned Senior Judge just now mentioned that we three are going to speak on the subject. With all humility, let me say that I'm the least qualified person to speak on the subject of mediation. We have got trained mediators and a very respected senior judge. So let me not encroach upon that time. But let me tell one thing. I had the privilege of sharing the bench along with my esteemed senior brother, Justice P.S. Dinesh Kumarji, since last 2 weeks. And I can vouch for the fact that whatever he has spoken today, he has spoken from bottom of his heart. Because he has been applying the principle of mediation in letter and spirit while hearing the cases. I've been observing him the last I've been watching him, I had the privilege of watching him since last 2 weeks. And it's my proud privilege that the weekend I've shared the rest with him. Let me share one experience relating to mediation. I think this happened around 6 years ago. I was asked to appear in a matter. The suit for declaration and partition was dismissed by the trial court. There were 3 brothers in the family. The family was running a petrol bunk business. Two brothers were managing the petrol bunk. One brother was employed. He was employed in a bank. And he died at the age of 45. Survived by a widow and a daughter and a son. The brothers refused to give share in the family business to the widow and the daughter and the son. So this widow, daughter and son, they filed suit for partition. The brothers came up with a defense that they have got registered relinquishment deed in their favor. The deed somehow was not validly questioned before the court. There are not enough materials before the court to hold that the deed is invalid. So the suit for partition in respect of family business was dismissed. So the widow was in appeal. I was asked to appear on behalf of the widow. I distinctly remember it was the bench headed by division bench headed by Justice Anand Beda Reddy. I think I completed the narration of facts in 3 or 4 minutes. Then Justice Beda Reddy in his typical style said, "Mr. why don't you see that this matter is settled through mediation?" Anyway, I had a weak case, I readily agreed. And my learned opponent also could not refuse or decline to the suggestion made by the court. The matter went to the mediation. And by this time, the parties had spent 15 years in court, around 6 or 7 years in trial court. And the regular first appeal was pending before the High Court for 6 years, for 7 years. And believe me, the matter was settled in 30 minutes before the mediator. And look what happened in the mediation. My clients got 60 lakhs. The trial court said the relinquishment deed is valid, but still my clients got 60 lakhs. And I came out and I asked my clients, I hope you are all happy. They said, sir, we are extremely happy. We thought that we may at the most get 50 lakhs. So they got 10 lakhs more than what they thought. My opponent lawyer said, my clients are extremely happy because they had planned to give 1 crore. So they said 40 lakhs. And there is one more interesting twist to this case. My opponent lawyer said, so my clients are so happy, I got 2 lakhs towards fees. I never expected I would get more than 50,000 that I argued the matter. There is one more twist. My clients came to my office and they asked me about my fees. This is one difficult question I always faced as a lawyer. What would be appropriate fees to my service or my work which I have done as a lawyer? Always felt it difficult to quote the fees. What is the appropriate fees? It's always a difficult question for me. So I murmured something. I think my client heard something else. My client said, sir, we wanted to pay more. You are saying less. But I had to stick to my words. So this is my fees. So I received my fees. My client is doubly happy because she received more than what she expected. And she was not required to pay the fee which she thought. And my opponent lawyer is happy. And the opponent client is happy. Everybody thought that they have won the matter. And more importantly, judges are also happy because there are no need to go into all these voluminous evidence and judgments and to analyze the evidence, analyze the law, and to deliver a lengthy judgment. It was not required. And take it from me, the judge was very competent and the scholar judge. Even if they had delivered a classic judgment, one party would have lost the case, another party would have won the case. And another party would have gone to Supreme Court probably. And depending upon the verdict of the Supreme Court, the party losing the case would have carried the bitter experience of court throughout their life. And here, win-win situation for all. So this is the beauty of mediation. This is the beauty of settlement. Probably in a very short time, once you become lawyers, you'll come to know. You, as a lawyer, will have some limitations. As a judge, I'm just 6 months old judge. I'm having some limitation. I'm experiencing the fact that I'm having limitation as a judge. Though we find that this is a case where injustice is done to a particular party, the law can't reach because there are some inherent limitations. We can do justice within 4 corners of law, not beyond that. And very unfortunate thing is, law is unable to catch hold of injustice because of inherent limitations. But when it matter goes through mediation, there is no such limitation. I'll just give one hypothetical example. Think of a situation: the owner of a property dies. Let us say he has got 3 sons. One is a Class D employee working as a peon. Another is a software engineer drawing handsome salary. Another is a widowed daughter. But what the law of succession says? All of them will have equal share in the property left by the holder of the property. If anyone files a suit, the judge has got a compulsion to decree a suit for partition, awarding 1/3 share to each. As a judge, I can't equity jurisdiction. I can't exercise equity jurisdiction and say that this is a poor man, this is a lady, software engineer need not take any share, or let me award symbolic share. This is impermissible. But this can be done. This can be done through mediation. This can be done through settlement. So settlement, I think this was part of our culture. This was very much embedded in our culture. Over a period of time, after the British came, they imposed their own law. The mediation and this concept of settlement took a back burner. And in earlier days, probably the people hardly went to court. They tried to solve that matter among themselves, and it was solved. Most of the times, it was solved. In very rare and rarest of cases, the matter went to the king's court. In those days, it was king. But nowadays, the people rush to the court, and if 100 cases are filed, because of the intervention of the judges, most of the time because of the intervention of the judges, hardly 10 to 15 cases are settled through mediation. I want this equation to be reversed. 80% cases should come to an end or should be settled even before they are filed in court. I'm not being selfish, because I'm not saying that it's going to reduce the work of a judge. This is going to create a lot of harmony, and this is what I have been listening. This is what I've been hearing from my senior esteemed brother Judge Justice Dinesh Kumar. And don't be under the impression that you will not have cases, will not have your peace. Peace will come. I just quoted my own example. Had I argued that matter, probably I would have lost the matter. I would not have got the fee which my client gave. So there is this mediation. It is gaining momentum, of course, now of late. It's a very structured process. I earnestly request all of you to take mediation very seriously. Never be under the impression that in case if you suggest mediation or settlement, your client will run away. Maybe you will come across 1 or 2 clients who may run away from you. But for every client who goes away from you because you suggested mediation, take it from me, you will have another 10 clients will come to you because you are in fair mediation. So mediation is something which you have to think of very seriously. And the very fact that you have participated in this mediation competition, I'm sure that you will also take it forward in your career as a lawyer. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the valuable information shared as well as practical examples of the mediation.
May I now request the second guest of honor, Advocate Sushila Sarthi ma'am, Senior Counsel, Senior Mediator, and Master Trainer NCPC New Delhi, to speak a few words. Please, ma'am.
Honorable Mr. Justice Dinesh Kumar sir, Honorable Mr. Justice Anant Ramanath Hegde sir, your and our beloved Dean Dr. T.R. Subramanya sir, my learned brother and loving brother of mine, Mr. Prasad Subbanna, and my good friends, mediator friends here, faculty of CMR Law University, and all the student friends who are present here. It's always a pleasure to be associated with CMR University. I have always told this, I can't say no to your Dean, Dr. Subramanian sir. He's not just a legal luminary, but he's a great visionary. I have worked with team associated with mediation, which is part of the CMR University. Be it Mr. Praneshwaran, Srihari, or Vidya Salomani, amazing. The way in which they are committed to work for a cause is something amazing. Hats off to them. Yes, I appreciate that. Hearty congratulations to those who have been part of this mock mediation. I never consider mediation as a competition. I have my own reservation here. Mediation is an art of living. Those of you who are not trained in mediation, I request and suggest that you should undergo training in mediation. Before me, Mr. Justice Dinesh Kumar sir has emphasized on that. I request all of you to take a call today. Why should you do that? Because if you want to be graceful, you have to undergo training in mediation. I do not mean to say that those who are not trained in mediation are not graceful, but you will definitely be graceful if you are trained in mediation. Why is that? Grace becomes part of your intrinsic worth. It becomes part of you if you are trained in mediation. I'll take you through a small storyline. Steph is a leading researcher on loneliness. She has also done wonderful work on neuroscience of love. One day she had to attend a boring academic lecture. Maybe somebody like me was speaking. Too boring it was. Then the guy sitting next to her, he whispered into her ears and said, "Please punch me if I start snoring," because he was also feeling very bored. This lady just laughed. And to her surprise, she saw that the person next to her, sitting on the other side, he was already dozing. So she asked this person, "Should I punch him too?" Then both of them laughed. And he said, "I'm John anyway." Then they started exchanging messages. They had their own conversations. He was also into research on psychological aspects. They developed interest in each other. They got married. Steph knew what love is. Every individual wants to be loved, irrespective of their age, be it a small child or a dying man. She was an expert on neuroscience of love, but this was something she had first-hand experience. And suddenly, for a period of time, John developed cancer. John died of cancer. The last sentence that he spoke was, "I love you," to Steph, and he died. Steph was completely broken. She was shattered. And then, in between this pandemic, COVID started. She was completely lost. Like one fine day, a neighbor who's 80-year-old knocks on her door and she asks her, "Can you please help me? I'm seeing nothing in this world. I want to stay connected. How do I stay connected? You're such a highly qualified lady. Help me understand. Help me. Give me a tip so that I can stay connected." By that time, Steph had studied lots of work that John had done. Then she tells him, there is only one thing that can keep you connected. And there's only one thing that can keep your social body in a perfect form, and that is grace. Grace is an acronym. G for gratitude, R for reciprocity, or for altruism, and then C for choice, and E for enjoyment. If you undergo mediation training, and if you are a mediator, gratitude becomes part of your life. You will come across several persons. Today, in your mediation, talk mediation, you would have seen. There are several persons with several tons of problems. You feel grateful to the higher principle, to God, that, okay, I'm not that person. I'm blessed You start counting your blessings. You don't feel jealous about somebody else who has got according to more than you, but you feel, oh, I am blessed with so much. There's always an element of contentment. If you want to have that contentment in you, you should become a meditator. Gratitude. That becomes part of your life. Reciprocity. You will come across persons who are isolated, who want someone to listen to them. Every individual wants to be appreciated, one way or the other. Every individual wants to be heard. You give them space. You understand them. You help them understand their self-worth. You respect them. Respecting others becomes part of your life. Otherwise, we hesitate to respect others also. But here it becomes natural. This is reciprocity, altruism. You work when you are not supposed to work. You work for a cause which is bigger than you. For example, today, why their lordships, Mr. Justice Dinesh Kumar sir and Mr. Justice Hegde sir should come here. Hundreds of files are before them. They have administrative work. They have so many things. There may be family compulsions also. Nevertheless, they have come here. They could have said no. But we surrender ourselves to something larger than us, something bigger than us. That is altruism. You do something pro bono. You go out of the way to do something which you can always refuse to do. That's what is required. That you will learn when you are part of mediation. Then choice. If you are a mediator, if you have handled about 10 to 15 cases, you will always come to know that people are suffering like this. They are continuing in problems because they are not ready to accept change. One cannot change unless they take a cautious decision to take decision. They are always in a dilemma whether to take decision or to take decision. This is a choice. Either I have to take a decision this way or that way. We don't do that. We want to postpone it. But please see here, if you are a trained lawyer trained in mediation, or if you are a judge trained in mediation, they can take a decision very quickly. Even on the judicial side also. Because the choice, exercise of choice, when to take decision and when not to take decision. As a mediator, you will assist the parties. You will facilitate the parties to take a decision either way. Of course, the decision is up to them. You will help them in the decision-making process. But as an individual, you will also not continue the habit of avoiding taking decisions, but you will take decision one way or the other. Most of our miseries are because we don't want to take decision and we want to postpone. But that habit naturally moves away from us. That is the next one. Next is enjoyment. You feel fulfillment. You feel very satisfied. Many of us are mediators. They have everything in life. Why should we come there? Why should we go to Bangalore Mediation Center? They're all working pro bono, but that gives immense pleasure, which nothing in life can give. When you're part of somebody's life, when you're helping them to move towards peace, what better fulfillment God can give you? What better contentment you can get anywhere else? That's what you get through mediation. So I request each one of you to run forward, rush forward to embrace grace. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful words of wisdom and encouraging students to choose mediation. May I now request our next guest of honor, Advocate Prasad Subbanna sir, Senior Mediator and Master Trainer in CTC New Delhi, to speak a few words. Please, sir.
I am glad he said few words. I know when to take a hint. Isn't it? Honorable Justice P.S. Dinesh Kumar, Honorable Justice Anand Ramnath Hegde, my colleague Srimati Sushila Sarathi, Dr. T.R. Subramanian,
dignitaries, friends, students. It has been a wonderful day spent here. And all of you would be eagerly awaiting to know what is the outcome of your efforts. Instead of listening to people twice your age standing at the dais and occupying that suspense, isn't it? I'm sure that beckons. Whose hand will I go to? I don't know. See, the average age group of the dais is at least double your age. So, however much we pontificate about whatever it might be it about mediation, life, and all, unless and until you experience and undergo, you would never understand what it is. We would say definitely, yes, this is good. Because advice is the only thing which can be given freely as long as you do not have to follow it. So we give it very liberally. Ask for something else tangible, materialistic. No, there is a limit. I can give you only so much. Advice, no, I'll give very liberal. So when it comes to that, we are very generous and not parsimonious. Yes. The wealth of knowledge on the dais and the snippet of it which was shared is enough and more for you to understand what mediation is. What His Lordship Justice Dinesh Kumar said about mediation, about his experience and how it happens. What His Lordship Justice Ananta Ramnath, his personal experience as a lawyer, he said. What my colleague Sushila Sarthi said about grace. When you encompass all these things into one and try to understand and assimilate the gist of what was said, that by itself can take you to greater heights. Yes, no doubt, when all of us studied law here, this concept was unknown to us. We had only two choices, civil side or criminal side, that's all. So each one of us chose whatever side we thought is good for us, and over a period of time, in 2007, when this mediation concept was introduced, and we were fortunate to be chosen. It was like a metamorphosis. That was when, sort of, as a person, I realized what life is. So until 2007, it was a different person. After 2007, it was another person. Because for the first time, you are sitting there as a neutral person, trying to understand the problems of two persons before you and see what best can be done. So, this is the only thing we can. But I would not like to go on promoting or pushing mediation to you. It has to come from within you, and you must have the affinity or the interest to take it. No doubt, it is a good choice, and vast vistas are open for you now. See, as I said, criminal or civil side, now corporate. In corporate, so many other subdivisions are there. You can think of IPR, you can think of trademarks, and so on and so forth, lots, which was not there. So please include this as a value addition. Even if you go to a corporate sector and if you say that yes, you have had training in mediation, it would definitely benefit you. Any knowledge will never go waste. That is the way I will put it. Always strive to enhance your knowledge. And the only way you can do it is by reading more and more and more. Not necessarily related to only law. You should have knowledge of some things other than laws. Many a times, even having a command over the language also is a beneficial thing. But I find that many people do not pay much interest in enhancing their knowledge or communication skills. So these are all assets. Because you see, it's like this.
When we were taught law, we were told, there should be so many grounds for divorce. Either cruelty or, incurable diseases and all that. Today, marriage is sufficient ground for divorce. So, now if that is so, now what's the point of reading all those things? Now, if I sit as a mediator and there is a matrimonial dispute, which is very common, it's very common nowadays. So see, when we were practicing, I'm sure His Lordship Justice Dinesh Kumar would also agree, because they are almost contemporaries, that we're not having so many divorce matters. Today, we don't even ask anybody if we meet them again, how is you, how are you, how is your daughter-in-law, nothing. Because they said, oh, divorce service. I don't want to ask. If they want, they will volunteer. All is just ask, okay, how are you? Because we don't know. So every time, it's so ingrained in us that, after doing so many matrimonial matters, every time somebody comes and invites with a card, we'll be looking at it and saying, God, where will you end? We don't know. I mean, not that we wish ill, but it happens. Brain automatically works like that. So, there have been people who have lived in joint families and come out and they have understood the realities of life, how to cope up with people, how to stay with people around you, and how to share and care. Today, if husband and wife are staying together, that is joint family. That is how it is becoming. So you see, you can learn from our experience. You can take that wisdom which is coming to you free, but it's up to you to take it. So, no doubt, it's a very good concept. And I am hoping that at least during the time that is left for me on this planet, I might see that mediation as a private mechanism comes into force, and a settlement arrived at in mediation would be accepted without going to court. We have an act for arbitration and conciliation. Of course, there is a bill which is pending on mediation. I hope it becomes, because that will be the easiest of things. See, it is like this. Who knows in your days to come? Like just as we have on a transfer of property, there is a registrar of sub-registrar to register the property, whether it's a gift deed or a sale or a lease, whichever transfer of property takes place. Now, just imagine for a moment, what if a settlement is registered before a registrar of mediations, and that in itself becomes a decree without going through the hassle. We do private mediations even now, but we have to go through the channel and the corridors of the court halls to get an order. I hope and trust that such a day would come, and I hope I would be there to see that day and practice also that for some time. I would not like to take much of your time because he told me to say only few words. I'm abiding it to the letter and spirit. So all I can say in conclusion is, may God bless you all. Jai Ho, Jai Mata.
Thank you, sir, for the insightful words on mediation.
Now we move to the distribution of participation certificates. May I request Advocate Sheila Sarthi ma'am to please help us with the same. I request all the teams to come to the stage when your team code is called. That is in order. TC01, RV Institute of Legal Studies. TC02, Bangalore Institute of Legal Studies. TC03, Symbiosis Law School, Nagpur. TC04 Savita School of Law. TC05 Ramaiah College of Law. TC06 President University of Law. TC07 KLE Societies Law School. TC08 St. Joseph's College of Law.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Advocate Prasad Subanaskar to continue the distribution of participation certificates. TC09 St. Joseph's College of Law. TC10 Presidency University, Bangalore. TC11 Maharashtra National Law University, Nagpur. TC12 TC13 BMS College of Law. TC14 RV Institute of Legal Studies. PES University. And not to forget TC16 CMR University School of Legal Studies. Special mention to the team. The team was a swing team from our college, and they also qualified for the quarterfinals. But due to the rules and because of our fair policy, they couldn't. And now for the much awaited moment, declaration of results. I would like to welcome our director, sir, Professor Dr. Vijay Praneshwaran, to declare the results.
Just a disclaimer, this is not the vote of thanks. The background is, I always deliver the vote of thanks. So, honorable guest dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, I have a dilemma to keep it short or to build up the suspense.
Two teams qualified for the finals. Of course, this is a unique competition in the sense that where you have two sets of prizes and winners. One is the mediating pair, and the other is the mediator. Though they come in as a team, they compete differently. So I would be announcing the mediating pair first. Ramaya College of Law from Bangalore and Presidency University, Bangalore contested for the finals, and the winning mediating pair enough, okay, fine, enough of suspense. Yes, it is Ramaya College of Law. Witnessing that Vinod Menon and Dexter Bruno Colossus. They also win a cash prize of 15,000 rupees. I request Justice, Honorable Justice P. Dinesh Hegde and Honorable Justice Anand Ramnath Hegde to kindly hand over the trophies to the winning team. And the runners-up, Presidency University. Honorable Justice P. Dinesh Kumar and Honorable Justice Anand Ramnath Hegde to kindly do the honors. I request the dignitaries to stay back to award the mediator prizes. I will not build up the suspense. The winner is TC10, Presidency University. The best mediator. Also winning a cash prize of 7,500. The runner, TC06, Presidency University. Along with the trophy, winning a cash prize of rupees 5,000. Thank you, Your Lordships. Thank you very much.
Now we request Advocate Vidya Selvi ma'am, the faculty coordinator for Center of ADRS and also for the competition, that is the first CMR National Mediation for 2022. Please come and deliver the vote of thanks. Congratulations to the winning team and good evening to all. I, Vidya Selvamani, on behalf of CMR University School of Legal Studies, Center for Alternate Dispute Resolution, consider it as a great privilege to deliver this vote of thanks to all who were involved in making this CMR first national mediation competition 20 success. The objective of this competition was to emphasize on the significance of mediation and how effective it is in solving the disputes amicably. This is the first mediation competition that CMR University School of Legal Studies has conducted, and it went extremely well. 16 teams participated from across the country, and I'm delighted to say that both participants and judges enjoyed each and every moment of the competition. Further, I would like to point out to the participants that the words of Winston Churchill, that success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts.
Please don't be disappointed about the loss. Be happy about the experiences you have gained and the qualities you have learned. That being said, it has been a fortune to find the distinguished presence of Honorable Mr. Justice P.S. Dinesh Kumar, Judge, High Court of Karnataka, among us today. Thank you for sparing your valuable time for us and being the chief guest for this valedictory function and for sharing your valuable insights on mediation and what students must focus on both in litigation and mediation. Now, I request our beloved Dean, Dr. Tia Subramania, sir, to kindly hand over the memento to his lordship. Thank you, Lord. Further, I would like to express my gratitude to Honorable Justice Anant Ramnath Hegde, Judge, High Court of Karnataka, for being the guest of honor in this valedictory function and for enlightening us with his helpful wisdom. Now, I request our beloved Dean, Dr. Tia Subramania, sir, to kindly hand over the memento to his lordship. Thank you, Lordship. Furthermore, I take this opportunity to express a sincere thanks to Advocate Sushila Sarathi, Distinguished Senior Counsel, Senior Mediator, and Master Trader Mediation and Conciliation Project Committee, New Delhi, for gracing this occasion as the guest of honor. We are extremely grateful for your presence here, ma'am, and for being with us in all our endeavors. Now, I request our beloved Dean, Dr. Tia Subramania, sir, to kindly hand over the memento to Advocate. Thank you, ma'am. In addition, I would express my deepest gratitude to Advocate Prasad Subanna, Senior Mediator and Master Trainer Mediation and Conciliation Project Committee, New Delhi, for guiding us through this initiative and for accepting our invitation for judging the finals and joining us in this valedictory function as the guest of honor. He has been support for this particular mediation competition from the beginning. Now, I request our beloved Dean, sir, to kindly hand over the memento to Advocate. Thank you, sir. I'd like to thank our mediators, Advocate Brinda Nandakumar ma'am and Advocate Shilpa ma'am for being with us for the final rounds, and Shilpa ma'am for being also with the preliminary rounds 1 and 2 and for the finals. Moreover, I would like to extend my thanks to the Bangalore Mediation Center for sending us their esteemed mediators. It is indeed our honor to have their presence. Of all the senior mediators as judges who have taken their precious time to join us to judge the competition and for sharing their precious feedback to the participants. I would also like to thank all the participants for joining us in the CMR First National Mediation Competition. We really hope you all enjoyed as well as learned new things with respect to mediation. Further, I must wholeheartedly thank our beloved Dean Sir, Dr. Tia Subramania, for all his guidance and guiding us throughout the course of this competition. Thank you, sir. I must mention my deepest sense of gratitude to our director, Dr. B.J. Praneshwaran, for being our backbone and helping us in every step of this way and making this competition a grand success. Thank you. Additionally, I must mention, I would like to express my deepest sense of appreciation to all my dear faculty colleagues who ensured that this competition will be conducted successfully and is conducted successfully. Thank you to all. Additionally, I must mention my student committee heads and volunteers who have worked all day tirelessly to make this competition a grand success. Thank you to all my volunteers. I want to thank my conveners, Hariharan from final year LLB, Shana Stanley from 4th year BA LLB, Priyadarshini from final year BA LLB, Vishnu Sudarshan from final year BBA LLB, Vaidehi from final year BA LLB, Sampreet from final year BBA LLB, who were with the conveners of this competition and for putting their heads and souls into this competition and was by my side to help at any point of time that was needed. I would like to extend my thanks to all the support staffs who have contributed for this success of this competition. Finally, I would like to thank each and every one of you who have worked for this competition. Once again, congratulations to the winning team and all the best to the participating. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Kindly rise for the national anthem.